Hey everybody, what is going on? It is Crypto Bobby. Hope you are having a great day, great night, wherever you are watching in from. Another fantastic day in the crypto markets. And by that, I mean, it's a fantastic day if you are short the markets or if you have moved the majority to cash. Other than that, you're probably getting your face ripped off, your portfolio ripped off. So, Arian P, what's up? Evelyn, Nick, MJ, cross the damn bridge. I did cross the bridge about an hour ago. Nothing happened, unfortunately. RIP to your portfolio, to my portfolio. ZRX was really the only sign of life in the portfolio today, obviously with the Coinbase news that we can talk a little bit about. What's up, Steve, Rude Mud Crab, Richard, Michael? Hope you guys are having a good one. Jorge mentions to place your shorts now because I am live. We'll see if that happens, but I mean, the time to short might have been 24 hours ago. We can still certainly continue to go down, and I'll definitely give my thoughts on the entire marketplace as a whole, and we can talk a little bit more about that. Just as a quick heads up to everybody, so if you guys are local to San Francisco or out in the West Coast, I will be speaking again at the NAC3 conference. It's June 23rd. I have a link below in the description to this video. It has a discount code, or the discount code is Crypto Bobby. But click that link. I'll be out there speaking with Carter Thomas from Coin Mastery. I got a chance to meet him in New York last week, so I'm looking forward to that, and a couple other people, Crypto Lark, and some other folks there as well. So the topic of my speech or discussion will be on security tokens, and of what security tokens are, why they matter, and why they don't matter, the good, the bad, the ugly of security tokens, and we'll dive into that. So that'll be something that I will discuss for NAC3. If you guys would like to join for San Francisco, if you're local, June 23rd, so definitely click the link below, and would love to see you there. That would be awesome. So checking out some of these questions here. Somebody, what's up, Patrick? Hope all is well down in South Carolina, I believe. IPA sounds delicious right now. You boys going with a little Poland Spring, so nothing too crazy. But popping into, I think, the news of the day, obviously the entire market, if you look pretty much across the board, out of the, I think, 80 some odd assets, 87 assets right now on Chain FX, only 2 are up in the past 24 hours, 0x and Steam. So 0x, or the ticker symbol ZRX, one of their relayers, so not 0x, but one of their relayers here, if we pop over to the Coinbase blog, one of their relayers, which is a company that builds technology on top of the 0x protocol, one of the relayers, Paradex, was acquired by Coinbase, and Coinbase is going to use Paradex to create a bulletin board type exchange to allow individuals to trade ERC20 tokens utilizing Paradex. That is the goal. And again, Paradex is built on top of ZRX. So therefore, while there isn't necessarily any component of ZRX from a fee structure, I believe, just the fact that Coinbase is acquiring a company that has some relation to the 0x technology. The price went up about 40% at one time, has since settled back down below, I believe, 20%. You can take a look here. I'll pull up the charts, but the price went absolutely nuts. And it was interesting too, because it broke. If you look at the charts right here, the price went up about 40% or so. Huge buy volume, actually went up about 55% at the actual top, and then has settled down about 30% up from where it was trading beforehand. So interesting to see. I think obviously this is big news for the decentralized exchange space, and adds a lot of validity there that Coinbase is trying to enter that marketplace. Personally, I actually spoke on a panel at the Fluidity Summit, which was hosted by AirSwap and AirSwap's parent company, which is Fluidity. I spoke at the Fluidity Summit, or moderated a panel, and on that panel was actually the CEO of Paradex, alongside the co-founder of AirSwap, the CEO of Aurora DAO, which is IDEX, and the Gnosis as well. So pretty cool to be moderating a panel, and I met the CEO of Paradex, got a chance to speak with him, got a chance to interact with him a little bit. Cool to talk with somebody, and then 2 weeks later, their company gets acquired by Coinbase. That's a pretty fun thing there, and obviously you could see the direct impact on the price of ZRX, since there's a close relationship there. So taking a look at some of these questions here. Looking at some of these questions. Hopefully the final capitulation. I think we might still have a little bit more room downwards, to be pretty frank with you on that. I don't think we're done yet. I have moved a little bit. I moved a little bit of Bitcoin to cash in the 8,400 range. So it was actually not really from a trade perspective, but just looking to have a little bit of extra cash on the side in case I needed it for personal reasons. And that turned out to be a decent little maneuver. So obviously the market has dipped pretty, another $1,000 or so since 8,400. So I'm keeping that cash on the side. And if we dip below $7,000, I think I'm going to look to acquire in the $6,700, $6,800 range. Excited about that opportunity. What's up, MJ? Haven't bought more since the 200s. I wanted one last chance to get in on some projects. This is a happy hour for me. Bring it down one more. I think that's the way. I mean, it depends on how you look at things. So obviously, there are a number of different ways you can look at the markets as a whole, and depends upon what type of trader you are. If you're an active trader, then you might be shorting the markets with something like, if you're an active trader, you might be shorting the markets or moving to cash. If you are somebody that typically holds on for the long term and dollar cost average your way in, then this is an opportunity to either lower your cost basis or to acquire crypto at a cheaper rate than potentially you would have 2 days ago. So I think MJ's point there is it's all a matter of perspective. If you're looking to sell, or if you really need this money, then obviously it's not a great day for you. But if it is an opportunity where you're looking at this as maybe something as a trading opportunity or a potential chance to get in a little bit cheaper, then that's certainly something to keep in mind. Kyle, share ahead, brother. Share ahead. And somebody mentioned Raven. Yeah, Raven is done all right. I don't even think so. I'd love to see Coinigy add Crypto Bridge to. I'd love to see Coinigy add Crypto Bridge to their platform. That would be nice. If you guys aren't familiar, I've actually been a decent sized fan of Crypto Bridge lately. If you are, let's see if I can even pull it up. So I've been a decent sized fan of Crypto Bridge lately. It's something that I think from a decentralized exchange perspective, most decentralized exchanges right now are focused on ERC20 tokens, Paradex that just got acquired by Coinbase, AirSwap that I work at, Radar Relay, Kyber. Those are all ERC20 based for right now. Those are all ERC20 based exchanges. On the other side of the house, Crypto Bridge is interesting because it allows you to trade other assets that are not necessarily just ERC20s. And Raven is one of them. There's a couple other ones that have, and this has been interesting because these aren't necessarily the most liquid markets by any stretch. But the coins that have been on Crypto Bridge have actually done pretty well in comparison to a lot of the other assets as of lately. And I have acquired outside of Raven, there is another cryptocurrency here that I did dive into recently. It is a smaller cap cryptocurrency. It's a smaller cap masternode. So I personally don't want to really mention it because I don't want anyone. I really don't want anybody to say that I've had an impact or I'm shilling it or anything like that. So, yeah, just for full context, there is a masternode cryptocurrency that's traded really exclusively on Crypto Bridge that I did dive into recently. But I think that for me to mention the name, it's a small cap cryptocurrency. And if I say, hey, I bought this one, then people are going to say, yo, you're shilling and you have too many followers, you're going to affect the price of it, which is, it's definitely possible. So I want to avoid that as much as possible. Thanks a lot, Joakim. Always appreciate having you here, brother. Always appreciate it. If you guys have any specific questions too, definitely let me know. Happy to take those as much as possible. And if there is anything you absolutely must have answered, throw it in the super chat, and I definitely will get to it there. So taking a look, and it looks like Gary, what's up, man? Adding some WAN chain, Tron, EOS, and AST, waiting to see where Bitcoin goes. Yeah, there have been a lot of, and I was looking at WAN chain recently too, and WAN is one that I've liked, and I wanted to. I've talked about this a bit. I'll pull it up on the. Let's look in the past 3 months. So basically, after the ICO, I wanted to get into WAN chain. I was looking for it. It opened up, WAN chain after the ICO opened up about, I think, 10x of what it ICO'd at. And I was looking to acquire, like literally here, I was tweeting about wanting to get WAN under 40,000 Satoshis. It ever so slightly dipped below 39,000 Satoshis. And then it went on a straight shot up all the way up to over doubled. It went up about, let's see here. WAN chain went up about 150% and is now down from that peak, a cool 42%. I didn't even realize that. And then Jordan Palmer, if you're watching this, but somebody I follow on Twitter, somebody from the channel, good dude, but Jordan tweeted, hey, looking to accumulate more WAN here. I don't know if it's found the bottom or not here, but it's at about 60,000 Satoshis. I might look to dip my toes in a little bit. Want to evaluate that a little bit further, but has been interesting to see WAN go on a straight shot to the moon and then fall back off a cliff. So MJ, what's up? One more dip tonight. PS, I meant I'm holding. I think we might continue on a movement down. I do think I'm getting the feeling, even just from some of your comments too, and that's something I use personally just to get a feel for kind of what the markets are. At least market sentiment wise, I am seeing a lot of people that are just getting tired of the crypto market, just beating them down. And the one thing that I would say to that, is I don't want to say, you have to hold on and you have to do all this stuff, but and make it sound like some ridiculous Ponzi scheme or anything like that. But I've seen these market cycles before in late 2013 to 2014 where the markets went sideways down. A lot of people lost interest. And then the people that didn't lose interest are the OGs that you see on Twitter now that have created really pretty incredible livelihoods and have done really well through the fact of sticking out and learning and improving throughout this process. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on. Even if things go sideways, I'm working on just improving myself, improving my contributions to the space, obviously working full-time in crypto now, and also just getting better from and trying to concentrate on my investments better over time. So that's kind of what I'm doing at this point in time. I'm in it for the technology. Yeah. What's up, Charlie Lee? So I talked about that. Simply Grouch, what's up? I talked about ShipChain yesterday. The one thing I would say about ShipChain, I think it looked like a pretty legit project, and I don't know the entirety of the details as far as how they marketed. But if you are a U.S. investor, if you are not accredited and you can participate in an ICO, be wary of that ICO. And if you are not in the U.S., obviously the space does not evolve around the U.S. And anytime I say anything about the United States, people foreign or people that are not in the U.S. shit a brick and are like, there's a world beyond the U.S. Yes, I know that. But a lot of countries do follow regulatory guidance from the U.S. And if the SEC comes out and says something negatively, it affects the entire market. It's a global market. And if the SEC comes out, or if a statewide SEC comes out and says something negatively about the cryptocurrency that you participated in, even if you're not in the U.S., it can negatively affect your investment. So definitely something to keep in mind as far as non-accredited investors being offered ICO opportunities. The time has passed. Stay away, stay away, stay away. Adam, what's up, man? What do I think of Arabian Chain? I have no idea what DBIX is. I'll have to look into that further, but I don't have too much, don't have too much of a context there. So trying to sort through these questions, obviously, the XRP commentary is pretty Pretty funny. They donated, I think they were on, or they donated through Ellen DeGeneres with Ashton Kutcher, which is, I'm sure, partly marketing, but also, I mean, hey, if you're gonna donate money, then donate it. That's cool. It's better than not donating money. But people are like mad. I saw people on Twitter mad at Ellen DeGeneres and calling her a Ripple shill. Like, do you really think Ellen DeGeneres has any level of Bitcoin maximalism or Ripple maximalism or cares about Bitcoin Cash? No. She just wants to raise money or just wants making a damn TV show. Who gives a shit? There's so many other things in the world that worry me. Ellen DeGeneres accepting Ripple for a charity is not one of those things. I'll tell you that much. Somebody mentions, can you explain how the market is being manipulated? I think this is kind of funny because every time the market goes down, people cry that the market is being manipulated. Every time the market goes up, they celebrate, and then other people cry that the market is being manipulated. So it is a very unregulated space right now. There are ample opportunities for somebody with a lot of money. It is a very unregulated space. The liquidity is very low, and the restrictions are not there for the most part. So if you want to manipulate the market, whether it's using a combination of the futures market and spot prices, and then trading the underlying asset, or just utilizing whether it's news or just having a large bankroll and being able to manipulate the order books, there's a lot of different things that you can do. But I do think it's kind of a tired argument where everybody's always like, oh, manipulation. Like, you can't complain about these 100x. Like, look at Wanchain, went up 150% after a 10x on the ICO. You can't complain about manipulation on the way up to 150% and then cry about it on the way down 40%. Like, there's positives and negatives to all this stuff. So the market manipulation, yes, I'm sure it exists. I know it exists. I've heard specific examples. I'm well aware of things, but at the same point in time, I think it works both ways, and it probably has worked to your benefit before as well as to your detriment. But the market is increasing in sophistication. There is more regulation, for better or for worse, coming to the space. There are more large companies coming to the space. Things will continue. They will evolve. They will improve. We'll have to see how things end up panning out. I've been online for 15 minutes and Bitcoin is only down 0.72%. That's probably a couple $billion, right? Hey, no, you're welcome. If you were 100x long, I mean, if you're 100x short, you'd still be making money. So it's tried and true method. Tried and true method every single time. Somebody keeps asking about Zinfin. I'm not too sure about Zinfin. And popping over here too. So like I said, it's I mean, the day itself, a couple things that I've been looking at is 0x obviously was an interesting play today. If you were in that, you did well, and we talked a little bit about that. Obviously, that was due to the Paradex acquisition of which is a 0x relayer. People put 2 and 2 together, bought as soon as the news happened, went through the roof, since come down. We'll have to see where that ends up happening. Just call me dope. I talked about it a little bit more extensively in the beginning, so you can definitely go back and check that out. And one other thing that you might want to consider as well. So I'll pop over here to, let's see, Binance blog. Check this freaker out. So Binance listed a couple different cryptocurrencies recently, and in pretty quick order, which is interesting. Binance listed Skycoin, and shout out to the Skycoin team because I think they're going to send me a miner. They have a Skycoin miner. I've researched them in the past. I've had positive and negative kind of thoughts on Skycoin in the past. They have done really well, and it would have served me well to have put money in them when I see the past 3 months. They have, Jesus, absolutely crushed it. mean, they're up, a cool 150% or so in the past 3 months. So massive, massive buy volume on the listing on Binance. But I think they're going to send me a miner to try out to see if I like it, if it's legit. If I like it, I'll make a video or I'll talk about it in a little bit more depth. So they have like a whole mining rig that's specific for Skycoin. So that could be cool to try out. I'd love to just see what that's like and see if it's legit or if it's a piece of junk. So be cool to check that out. And then also Zencash is another one. My dude Rocco at Obstropolis on Twitter has been steady on the Zencash game for a while. They were also listed on Binance. So you're seeing some increasing Binance listings as well again, which is always something to keep an eye on. And a lot of it comes down to simply paying Binance, I think. But there's all kinds of rumors as far as how much money it costs to get a listing on Binance. And there's also a queue to get a listing on Binance there as well. But when you're coming down to trading, thinking of the next assets that may or may not get listed on Binance is something that might be a consideration when it comes down to looking at some of these opportunities for sure. So John mentions, can you explain how OTC trading is happening and if those large buys are able to be sold later on in exchange? So if you're not familiar with OTC trading, I'll pop this up. Genesis trading, we'll pop this up. So OTC trading, if you are not familiar, these guys are one of the bigger OTC trading desks in the crypto market. This is Genesis Trading. And they are a DCG company, so Digital Currency Group. They own a vast number, or they've invested or own a vast number of cryptocurrency companies. It's Barry Silbert's company, DCG. They own CoinDesk. They've invested in a ton of different companies. But basically, if you are trying to acquire a large number of crypto assets, like let's say you want to go and you want to buy, if you're a quote unquote whale or just a large investor and you want to buy, let's say for example, $1 million worth of Bitcoin, the ideal scenario is not for you to go onto GDAX, which is now called Coinbase Pro. But the ideal scenario is not for you to go to GDAX and market buy $1 million worth of the asset, because you would probably move the order book quite a bit, even with just $1 million, or to put $1 million order on the GDAX order book, because people can see that, trade against it. The better scenario is for you to work with a company like Genesis, which now has a $500,000 minimum, I believe, to trade over the counter, which basically means what you're doing is you are working with Genesis and you're going to Genesis and they have a trading desk. They have a trader in the middle, and you are essentially going to Genesis and saying, hey, I want to buy $1 million worth of Bitcoin. Find me a seller. Genesis will have people on the sell side that will say, hey, we want to sell $1 million worth of Bitcoin at this rate directly to your buyer. Genesis will facilitate that transaction. It will likely happen essentially off an order book, so it will not be visible to the entire market. Essentially, it is called over the counter. It is not on the order book. And the reason that you would do that as an investor or as a buyer and or as a seller is it helps you avoid slippage. If you sell $1 million, like I said, and somebody sees that $1 million order, they might either bid up the price, or if you just do like a market buy or something like that, it can definitely move the order book up maybe 1% or 0.5%. But when you're talking about $1 million worth, 1% of $1 million is a pretty significant amount of money. Slippage can definitely impact things. So that's why you might look at working with an OTC trading desk. And hopefully that gives a little bit of context as far as kind of how these things end up moving in the long run, and why some of this is interesting. Now, to that point as well, when you're looking at an OTC trading desk, and a lot of people are talking about right now, you've probably seen some tweets recently about the OTC volume being really high. That is, I think, an interesting thing. It does indicate that there are a lot of large buyers and sellers in this market. But I think a lot of people look at that and say, oh my God, there's a ton of OTC, a ton of OTC happening right now. Even if the volume on these exchanges isn't that high, that's bullish. To the other side of the argument, with every OTC buyer, there's an OTC seller. So it's not necessarily overly bullish or anything like that, but it's certainly something to consider in the long run. So popping into some of these questions here. Robert S. sinking ship. Yeah, so as many of you know, I'm not the biggest Verge guy in the world. I think they had another 51% attack, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, I think Verge would have been better off spending their money on shoring up development and not as much on a partnership with MindGeek/Pornhub. I think they would have been better off in that manner, but it's Verge's money and they can spend the money, I guess, however they want to spend the money on, but Verge is not a cryptocurrency that I would really consider putting my money into. Still are a lot of Verge fans, though, so the last time there was a 51% attack, I think it pumped like 70% that week. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen this week because the entire market is down, but I'm not a Dogecoin dark guy. It's just not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. Max Poker mentions my following IOTA pretty ambitious projects. IOTA has gotten a ton of criticism in the crypto industry from what I would consider to be very influential and intelligent people, cryptographers, security experts. IOTA has gotten a lot of negative feedback as far as how they're constructing. As far as how they're constructing things, I think IOTA was super hot for a while because it was like one of the first, I think, really one of the first, like, one of the first DAG plays, let's see, over the past year. It hasn't done, well, that's since October. IOTA's certainly chilled out a little bit, at least since December. It didn't have as much of a pump as some of the other tokens did back in April. I am not in on IOTA. It had a crazy run back in the, I think it was like the September and October timeframe as well. Let's see if we can go back here on Bitfinex. Take a look. Yeah, IOTA had a massive run from July up until like mid-August, sold all the way down, and then just absolutely crushed it again during the altcoin run, and it's kind of chilled out, not done all that much. But I think there might be other, at least in my opinion, from the criticism that they've gotten from security professionals, it's not my highest, by no means is it my highest conviction play. I don't have any money in it. Would I consider putting money in it? Probably not. I think there might be other opportunities and other DAG or directed acyclic graph plays that might have better opportunities, might be lower market caps. So something that I just look at in the long run. Andy, I'm trying to stay away from the new Masternode coin. I talked a little. I mean, so I got it on Crypto Bridge, but like I said, it's a small market cap, and I feel like if I talk about it, somebody out there is going to say I'm shilling, and I don't want people to give me shit and say, yo, why are you shilling? But it's done well. Like it's up like probably 45% since I acquired it. So that's pretty cool. I'll take that any day of the week. But yeah, I just want to, it's a smaller market cap coin, so I don't want people to give me crap about it, because I've had that happen in the past where people are like, it's like when I talked about Raven, I talked about, hey, I bought Raven coin. People are like, you know, it's only a $30 million market cap and it's irresponsible for you to talk about this. People, you could pump it and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? I next time, it's not worth the headache. I don't feel like getting yelled at. Anthony, what's your take on Zill? So I missed the opportunity to buy into Zilliqa. Shout out to Donnie Crypto, my dude. Zilliqa was an incredible buy over the month of March and or April. I remember I read the Zilliqa white paper on April 8th. I tweeted about it, was like, hey, you know, sounds interesting. It's, you know, it's all right. Like, you know, Zilliqa sounds cool. It went up 340% after I read the white paper. It's now still up 185%. Looks like momentum's dying off a little bit from Zilliqa. So it might be an opportunity. If I want to acquire Zilliqa, I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to buy anything here. I'll probably wait for it to come down a little bit more. Could that be a mistake? Yeah, sure. But I think, you know, it's had a 300% pump. It'll probably pull back down even more so in the future. So I'll wait on that. So looking at some more of these questions here. What determines the price going up or down? Well, it's pretty simple. If there are more buyers than there are sellers, then the price goes up. If there are more sellers than there are buyers, then the price goes down. It's that's exactly how the markets and every single market works. If more people want to buy it, they have to go ahead of the person that wants to buy it, and they just continue to up and up and up the price. Pretty fucking simple stuff. Favorite long-term plays, Bitcoin. That is my Bitcoin is my probably my highest conviction long-term play. I look to stack Bitcoin. I look to try to stack Bitcoin as much as possible. Outside of that, it just kind of depends across the board. I look at things usually in like a 3 to 6 month time frame. So that's kind of my thought is I'm looking at things usually like looking at things 1, 2, 3 years out. It's basically impossible in cryptocurrency. Maybe even 3 to 6 months is pretty difficult. Like, it seems like every other month it's a completely new market cycle. Things are all over, things are different. They're changing. They're all over the place. So I try to look at things in like short to medium term. And if I'm thinking long term, the only thing that I think is, I don't want to say the only thing that's viable, but like Bitcoin is, I think, the most obvious in the longest. If you were just tying up your money for a long time, Bitcoin would be that one thing. And it was even so I went out with, or I had Coinbase on the channel a while ago, but last week for blockchain week, I was out with him and BTC Kyle, who has a YouTube channel, and Korean Jew, who has a YouTube channel and a Twitter profile, or in a pretty bigger Twitter account than I do, and a couple other people, Chris Dunn, and we talked about the question that Coinbase asked me on my channel of if you could do two things, basically. So you have two options. And I thought it was a good question. We talked about it again and thought about it, but basically, if you could do two things, if somebody gave you $1 million worth of Bitcoin or $2 million of any altcoin, and you had to hold it for the next 2 years, which would you choose? $1 million worth of $1 million worth of Bitcoin or $2 million worth of any altcoin? What would you go with? And we discussed the question and we talked about it in a little bit more depth. And I think like maybe a lot of people tend to think like, hey, I'd rather just hold $1 million worth of Bitcoin versus the $2 million worth of an altcoin. And like some of the other topics or some of the other thoughts there, maybe like a Monero or something that you think really would have more stability against some of the other uncertainty around some of the other altcoins. But would love to hear your thoughts too on that. If you'd rather hold Bitcoin, if there's an altcoin that you think you would like, if $1 million worth of Bitcoin or $2 million worth of an altcoin, would you go with the Bitcoin or would you go with the $2 million of an altcoin? And if you went with a $2 million altcoin, what would the altcoin be? Would love to hear that. And shout out to again, Tone Vase for that, kind of sparking that question a while ago. And then just, we were talking about that at dinner with Korean Jew and Tone and Chris Dunn and BTC Kyle. So that was pretty cool. 2 million in Tether, please. That's a fucking awesome. That's awesome. I love that, Cloak Cedric. That's great. That's solid. $2 million for the Pundix. That's aggressive. That's aggressive. 2 million worth of BitConnect. Solid move. I think, you take $2 million in BitConnect, that might be worth $10 at the end of the 2 years. 2 million ETH. That's funny. Yeah, Jonathan, name dropping all over the place, man. I'm famous. ETs. So a variety of feedback there. So that's cool. Variety of feedback. That's solid. 2 million in Raven and Bruce Fenton. 2 million in EOS. Who knows? Awesome. Well, as at this point too, so I'm gonna just pop back in here, just take a look at things real quick. But the BTC is just kind of chilling out for the most part right now. We didn't get the classic crypto happy hour dump since it's a crypto sad hour. Maybe we reversed it, and that's I guess that's not the worst thing in the world. So happy about that. But as I said before too, guys, if you are in San Francisco, I talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but if you're in San Francisco, I'm speaking with Carter Thomas from Coin Mastery, Crypto Lark, and a couple other people. Should be a fun event out June 23rd. There's a link below if you want to check that out. Pretty reasonably priced tickets, so should be a fun event for that. But outside of that, guys, can't go the full hour tonight, unfortunately. Got some stuff to take care of, and we'll be back at the game tomorrow. I appreciate your time. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button. Would really appreciate that. Smash the thumbs up button, as some folks in the YouTube world might say. Would really appreciate that. Helps to get this video out to as many people as possible. Thank you guys so much for your time. Hope you have a great night. Good luck buying, trading, holding, selling, whatever it might be. Crypto Bobby signing out. Have a good one. Peace.